Hey guys, it's Trenton here. Wanted to shoot this video and kind of bring you a bike check slash half year review after being on my 2022 Enduro for the past 6 months, as well as just let you know what I think about it after doing such an extreme dream build for myself. Is it worth it? What things do I like about this bike? What do I dislike about it? Are there any things I would change going forward and stuff like that? Now we'll hop into a montage of the bike. So first item I want to talk about on the bike, it's probably the most noticeable thing, is the Technar paint job. Dustin up at Technar absolutely killed it with this candy red over gold, as well as doing the sheet metal design that he did on the rear triangle and linkage, as well as matching the fork to the frame. Some of the nicest touches I've seen on a bike, and he absolutely killed it on the paint job. Even went as far as to make me a custom logo for the head tube. I'll put that up right here. Looks great. It has some cool touches, like where the sun is, you can see some of the gold peeking through the S on the forehead of the skull. Some awesome touches that he put into it, and it's probably the most noticeable thing about my bike, and it's one of my favorite things with the bike. So after the paint job, some of the components that I really like on this build, and I feel like they've really helped it stand out to me as different than my previous bike, is first off the axis dropper post. This post has been awesome for me. It's super responsive. One of the biggest things I like about it is the lever actuation. I mean, you just touch it and it's pressing a button to actuate it. It's none of the resistance that you get from a cable or anything like that. I also like the axis shifter, but if I had to pick and choose between either the post or the shifter, hands down I would go with the post. That it's a real game changer, where the shifting, it's relatively close to some of the cable actuated stuff and can be a little bit quirky from time to time, so definitely side with the post being the biggest factor that I like about the components in that sense. Another standout component for me was the Hope brakes. This was my first set of the Hopes. I ended up going with the V4 because I wanted to make it a little bit more of a downhill build than a cross-country build. So with the V4s, I feel like I'm on my downhill bike more or less, and having all the stopping power of the larger 4 pistons, I feel like has really helped me with these brakes, and it gives me a lot of confidence in them, especially when I get into the rougher stuff or the steeper stuff. I feel like there's tons of modulation, tons of feel with the brakes, and it allows me to have a lot of confidence in the bike. Another standout component on the bike is the DVO Onyx front fork. The Onyx, it took me a while to gel with it, but overall the fork, it performs very well. Now that I've gotten my setup fixed on it, it works great through the rough stuff. It provides plenty of support when I'm in the bike park, stuff like that. One standout on it is, I'm going to show the low speed dial right here. It really affects the rideability of it when you're in park and stuff. When you're riding more of a flow trail, you have the ability to turn it to say like 2 or 3 on the settings, and then it ends up actually giving you more of that support, makes it easier to pop, kind of changes the whole feeling of the front of the bike and livens it up quite a bit. Component wise, another one that I really like is my EE wings. I worked with Agave. They're up in Colorado. They custom anodized these EE wings for me. It was an awesome touch. I love how I was able to incorporate the gold into the bike and into the cranks, so it wasn't just based on the paint job. I could make the whole bike match. So now I want to get into some of the ride characteristics of the Enduro and what do I think of the Enduro, who would I recommend it to, what are the pros, what are the cons, all the usual stuff like that. So first off, I want to go into the pros of the bike. The Enduro rides great. It is like a mini downhill bike. It stays on line through some of the roughest sections of trail. Honestly, the area where I think this bike shines the most is when the trail gets extremely steep. When you're on the steeper trails, it just has unbelievable grip. It handles really well, and overall, it's a very good bike for the steeper and gnarlier stuff. Other standouts for this bike would be the stability in the air. I've noticed jumping this bike, it's very stable and you feel very confidence inspired on it. It allows you to maneuver in the air, get your body position right, anything like that. It just facilitates riding through stuff like that a lot better than some of the previous bikes I've been on, but overall, huge confidence inspiring bike and definitely a large focus towards the downhill side. That's going to lead me into the cons, and there's really only one con for me. Specialized killed it with this build. The one con for me is with my height, I'm short, so having a 442 chainstay on the Enduro really makes it hard for me riding the technical trails we have here in Vegas. It seems like my rear end gets hung up in the rocks or in some of the tighter switchbacks. It's a struggle for me to get the bike around and maneuver it up through the rocky stuff. But overall, great bike. That's just the one drawback. And I mean, that could be easily addressed by saying I'm riding the wrong bike for the situation. I mean, most of the trails around here aren't steep enough on the backside to actually call for a bike like this. So it could be reasonably justified to get a different bike for the majority of the trail riding, but when it is steeper, gnarlier, bigger holes, stuff like that, this bike does shine a lot more than some of the others I have ridden. My overall impression of the Enduro, it's going to be for somebody who wants to go downhill. They want to go downhill fast. They want something that is a race bike. I mean, this bike is fast. Everywhere I've been, I feel like I'm always setting new PRs or challenging previous times that I've done on trails. It's really fast. It handles great at speed. And it's one of those bikes that if you're not going to go out and ride 100%, it might not handle the best for you because it's so much dialed in as a race bike. If you're not charging, you'll start to get some of the front end push, or if you even have a slightly off setup where you've set it up for when you're charging hard versus just taking it easy with friends, you might not be riding the front end in the sweet spot, so then you'll get push, and that's one of the issues I struggled with when I was initially setting up the bike. But overall impressions, Specialized killed it with this bike. I love the build kit that I did. The only thing I have been thinking about changing out is the Fox X2, but I'm going to work with one of our local bike shops on getting a custom tune on the rear shock, make it more suited just for me, and give it another try. I think having that custom tune will probably liven the bike up a lot, how I'm wanting it to, and also make it feel faster, more playful, and allow me to push it just a little bit harder. So I'm happy about that. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe on the video. Let me know what you think. Are there any parts you want me to go into deeper detail on? I'd love to do a series where I almost go through the entire bike, whether it be with the brakes, the fork, the axis derailleur, the seat post, anything on the bike. Just let me know and I'll work to get a video out for you all and get more content going. That's it for me, guys. Let's keep sending it.